morning and welcome to the Fantastic Recovery. Morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
And it's not actually Christmas today, but we're recording for Christmas. Because I wouldn't expect anybody to be rushing in to record on Christmas Day. Might be a big ask, that.
Yeah, but I'm eating like it's Christmas.
Oh, you read, yeah, hence the chocolate, Ronnie.
Well, I've dragged myself out of the bed, got my woolies on, and I've got up here, so it's Christmas.
Bringing the spirit of Christmas, that's what's going on today.
We was doing a bit of cooking for some event the other day, and Ronnie popped his head into the kitchen, and we had some food, and then the lady of the house offered us some chocolate for a little bit of pudding in it, and I said, no, I don't like that one, but I like that one. And I turned around and I turned back, and the one I liked, Ronnie had like devoured it like within like about
Oh, it had gone before you'd seen it.
and I thought he was joking when he said like it's gone, and I looked at him and he was giving me this expression like saying
You snooze, you lose.
yeah, you know, like a dog, you know, like when the dog's kind of taken like some food and he looked. I'm like, no, he's kidding me, and he's like, no.
Now, you know what? I've got no control. I'm powerless when it comes to chocolate. I'm terribly powerless. And I thought, if you obviously don't want it as much as I want it, if you're able to say, I'll have it in a bit, I thought, that's not good enough. I need it now. And I remember eating a lot. I did. I'll confess, I ate a lot. And it went quick. It was an Aero, so there's more
Well,
bubbles.
Aero's not really chocolate.
More
Is it?
bubbles than chocolate.
It's got more air in it than chocolate, so it's not like eating ordinary chocolate, is it?
No, it's not. It goes down in a flash. I knew it was gone.
Yeah, I thought I'd just get that in because I'm looking at chocolate in front of me. I'm thinking, hang on.
Help yourself, by the way. It's,
Oh, right, yeah.
it's Cadbury's fantastic.
He's
Some
probably
people
got
are
another
about
4 bars in there.
at home having it.
Crackles in your mouth, that stuff does, it's
Sparkles
amazing.
and pops and everything.
And Christmas is time for lots of chocolate and all that
Chicken.
good stuff.
And
As
giving.
Quality Street
No, don't.
boxes get smaller and smaller and smaller
It's just
every
an
year.
absolute rip-off, isn't it?
Remember how big these were? They used to be huge, like a great tub. And now you just get this tiny thing, thinking, no, that's not for real.
Have you seen the Yorkie bars? No, they're like, there was meant to be like, there was the chocolate for the man, it was a man's chocolate. Or whatever, but it was a man's chocolate
Don't be
bar.
sorry, it was a man's
That's how
chocolate.
they had
It used to
Yeah.
say on
That
that
was
advert,
the
not
advert.
for women. How sexist and misogynistic is that?
And then the bar is tiny now, it's titchy, it's mine.
Although I must admit, I think Stork, the margarine for men, was a bit more disturbing.
Yeah, that is weird.
I didn't.
Why would a margarine for men be called Stork?
What would they be doing with the margarine anyway?
Yeah, exactly. It does beg the question, doesn't it? I'm Yorkie. I'm eating my Yorkie, and I've got my Stork.
Just going to the bedroom, dear.
Just goes with some margarine.
Good God.
So I'm just getting into my lorry for my long distance drive with my Stork, margarine, and my Yorkie. Honestly, officer, I can explain everything.
Ron is not amused.
It's vile. It's vile.
What more does a man
Taking me
need?
back to the old times with their desperation.
Well, back to the 80s, is like I was saying about watching Warrior Nun. It's going back to this world that doesn't exist anymore, thankfully.
And do you remember Milk Tray?
The man with the milk
The man
tray.
with the milk tray that used to be diving into water and fighting off sharks
Yeah.
just to get the lady the milk tray. Do you remember?
Don't make adverts like they
You'd
used to.
think with that skill set, he wouldn't just be delivering chocolate.
Do you know what I'm saying?
No, obviously delivering some house, isn't
You
it?
would
I
have
think it
thought,
was. I think that was the message behind it.
but you would have thought that with that skill set, he'd be impressive enough anyway, and not to have to turn up at 3 in the morning, dropping off the chocolates, and she doesn't even know it's him. She could be oblivious.
Anonymous,
to all of
it was anonymous.
Was he?
With the little card, yeah, he just used to leave a little card that was just calling.
Was
Because
he,
if he's that cool and he can do that, he might not know that she's actually got some other bloke in bed.
It literally
While he's
gave women
doing
like
it.
me false hope. That's why I'm codependent. It gave me false
Got
hope.
this thing going through women's windows in a club.
Fantasising about men that don't exist.
So let's see. He goes through women's windows and breaks into their
Which is
apartment
creepy.
during the night.
Watches
It's a
them in the
bit like,
sleep.
what was that serial killer called?
Malwrote.
No, was it BTK? The one who crept into women's houses overnight. He didn't bring them chocolate, but yeah, I think adverts are very much not the same anymore. There's
No,
certain
they
things
don't
you can't
get
get away
away.
with anymore.
No. So what kind of Christmas traditions do you have, you guys? Do you have any
Christmas
traditions?
traditions.
Yeah.
Eat.
Still working on them. because tradition of Christmas.
Christmas.
The 12 traditions. Well, what's the Christmas tradition?
You're trying to work it out at the moment.
To be a tradition, it needs to be something that you do repetitively, doesn't it? And
What we've done
I've only had
repetitively.
2 Christmases
Have you?
sober so far.
I've warmed to it in recovery in a way that I've never really liked it before. And it's certainly more manageable than it used to be. It's a positive thing now.
Yeah.
But this idea of wearing Christmas jumpers and, well, it's Christmas and no, I just can't get excited about it.
Humbug.
I went to do my Christmas
Scrooge.
shopping. I did my Christmas shopping yesterday.
Oh!
There's no way I was going to do it in Birmingham. Not a chance.
Yeah.
So yesterday morning, I popped into Wake Up Screen to go to the bank, then went across to Solihull, nice and civilised, no crowds, got the whole lot done in an hour.
While people were working, that's what I did.
To do it on a weekday morning makes sense because it's the least busy time, but even on a weekday morning, I wouldn't do it in Birmingham.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh.
I started mine this week and I got quite a bit done, and I'm actually excited for Christmas this year, which I've not really been before. It's coming up to 4 years. I'll be in January, one day at a time, sober and clean. And I remember my first year at Christmas, I was just desperate to get through it, especially with my family and their drinking. So I decided to cook for 18 people. And just as a distraction, so that I was busy, I had literally 10 minutes to have a shower. And then my auntie said, "Did you not make the cranberry sauce yourself?" And I literally wanted to throw the sauce at her face because I'd literally not stopped all day. But you know what? It was a really good distraction. And I'm glad that I did that. But yeah, the last few years I've been away at Christmas and not spent it with my family and stuff. So I'm looking forward to it this year. And I like the fact that I'm able to be present and I can give and I don't have expectation on receiving. And I'm doing it because I genuinely want to. Not because I'm people pleasing or because I want to be seen as, this, that and the other, but because I'm genuinely looking forward to it.
But that's the crux for me. It's like I always viewed Christmas historically as a kind of dirge, whereas now I actually want to be there. And it's a big shift change to actually want to be there.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's about balance as well. Like, I limit the amount of time that I spend with people. It takes energy out of me. So, I love my family, but I spend a certain amount of time with my friends over Christmas as well now, arranging, dinners and things like that because I want to spend time with them and I want to make it special, and it's about being present and spending time with people, not just what food you're going to eat, what gifts, but, giving your time and energy and helping others, doing some service.
And I need time to just kick back over Christmas, especially with doing panto. I've not had spare time. Even when I've taken a day to sort stuff out, it's been sorting out a load of panto stuff or getting ahead with this or getting ahead with that. And actually over Christmas is a time to sit there and take stock, I think, sometimes.
Is it always the same day, your panto?
What?
You're doing it tonight, aren't you?
Last rehearsal is tonight.
Because every time people mention, do you fancy doing that?
We should definitely go.
Last rehearsal is tonight.
Huh?
We're going tonight.
Oh, are you going?
You can come tonight.
I'm working.
You've got the show tonight.
That's the problem.
You can come tonight, but otherwise you'd be scratching for tickets because it's almost sold out. That's how important we are.
Hey, boom.
All that work, and the thing is, you're being judged by children, by small children.
And Neil.
Well, yeah, okay. Yeah, different if it's
I've
not.
got some rotten tomatoes with me today, mate.
That could be the worst critiques, you know.
Well,
No, you can't.
the thing is,
yes, I
if
can.
the villain manages to scare some small children, and while I can't decide whether he looks like Rod Stewart or Shirley from EastEnders, because the pictures it's genius. It's a brilliant costume, and his hair's like green, but I can't decide if it's Rod Stewart or Shirley from EastEnders. It's one or the other.
Shirley, yeah. She used to work in the cafe, didn't she?
And the pub.
Yeah, and the
she
pub.
used
She's
to
been
film.
in for a while.
She was in Bad Girls before.
Oh, that one.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
really good in
She's
that. She was
brilliant,
amazing
she is.
in that.
She's
You
excellent.
know what
Yeah,
I learned?
I love that.
Gary Oldman's sister.
Layla Morse, Big Mo from EastEnders.
Yeah.
She's brilliant. Man,
I
like
don't
that.
know who's Gary Oldman's
Yeah,
sister.
Gary Oldman has a family.
I know.
Shock horror! Gary Oldman's not just.
Wow.
He's not just Gary Oldman who suddenly appeared on the planet with no one related to him and just carried on being Gary Oldman.
I used to get her mixed up with Kathy Burke for some strange reason.
Oh,
and,
she's great as
and
well.
you see Kathy Burke in Islington all the time, and you go, Kathy, and she goes, oh, I love, and she screams it out. I love Kathy Burke. The Christmas thing though, it becomes like, I'm alright with it, I'm comfortable. What I can find for a lot of people, what I believe a lot of people might find, you kind of got that time of year where there's a lot of expectations in it to be happy, naturally, kind of be joyful, merry, all these words come into Christmas, don't it? And we can be emotional at the best of time. The most difficult Christmas I found was like the first year my father passed away, and I just stayed in my room most of the day. I don't know, it just felt all weird, thinking you can't be happy, you lot shouldn't be happy today. Everyone's trying to just do the best they could. But you know, I was in the midst of my addiction as well at the time, and I just isolated. But the merry thing, especially like maybe if you're new in recovery, and it can be really overwhelming. Like, forget maybe having any obsession around wanting to drink on that day. Just everybody expecting this. You've got to be a certain way, and like you said really well, Ronnie, I ain't got no traditions, because like for the last maybe X amount of years, I've slept virtually a whole Christmas day. I wake up at like 10 o'clock.
You see, I never used to sleep on Christmas Eve. I used to be awake until the very next day, and I would. What sort of fit up is this?
I know, what sort of shit is that when you're in the middle of talking? And he just goes out like that. What the fuck is that about?
What?
Really put out by you leaving that. That was really funny.
I was like, what on earth is going on there?
Do you feel it unimportant and irrelevant?
Like you just walked out and
The reason why I popped out there, Ronnie,
I
was
know,
because you were being
He must have
interrupted
survived.
by something very loud coming from next door.
Well, even my Alexa doesn't interrupt me anymore.
anymore. It's learned, has it?
Oh God, so funny.
Shut up.
There was a moment there.
You were talking about tradition.
Talking about traditions.
Oh. And you were saying? You quite beautifully said there, Ronnie. I'm sure you said.
As you said, we're learning new traditions. Like, you know, what is Christmas Day, and how do we really want to spend it?
It's really hard, isn't it? Because for Christmas for me, I love my family to bits, obviously, with all my heart, unconditionally, and all the rest of it. But I don't tend to want to stay too long.
Yeah.
2 hours or so.
Gauging how long is very difficult, isn't it?
2 hours, and I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah.
Everything I've needed to say, I wanted to say, I've exhausted what, and now it's just small talk. To be fair, when I go to my mum's, my stepdad's got these flights from there, so I get to fly planes. But even that can get boring after a bit, you know what I mean? Like, I want to crash it now. You want to crash the plane. I just want to crash it.
Where's Ronnie? He's been in the plane crash.
There's a price to pay, I say, right there, but I don't see it as a price to pay. I see it as a positive sacrifice. I've got a family who can keep small talk very, like, you know, on a nice little rhythm kind of going. And I've got a family that I feel very fortunate around. But if there is any politics or any disturbances within the family, like people maybe not getting on as best they can, on the gatherings, it's all kind of left behind.
Yeah.
So I'm very fortunate that I've got a family like that. I know some families it might not really work like that. So on that day, even when I'm feeling a little bit itchy or whatever, I breathe, and then I kind of say, you know what, I haven't been present even when I've been here many Christmases. So, and it's precious time.
Yeah, I've got a family it's a big Irish family, and there's about 20 of us just going for Christmas dinner alone, and it's busy, and everybody's got big personalities, and everybody's drinking, and it's sometimes a bit hectic. So when everybody gets too drunk, I pull away. That's why I tend to spend time with my friends, because I no longer find it fun anymore. And I've invited some friends to come over to the house to come and play games and stuff, so that keeping sober company, making better choices. Because I can't be around my family too long because they all drink a lot. And there's nothing wrong with that, but they're not alcoholics like me. And yeah, so it's a choice. But traditions wise, I remember when I was a little girl, I don't speak to my dad at the moment, but he used to have this tradition because he came from nothing. He didn't have any money when he was growing up. And my uncle used to get his present from my granddad, and then my granddad would wrap it again for my dad to open, and they'd share the same present, but they'd both open the present. So my dad used to do this thing where we'd have to sit in a circle, and every single one of us would have to open one present at a time, going around the room, so all the focus would be on you, opening this one present, but really appreciating it. That's a tradition that I would like to pass on if I had children, or when I have children, if I adopt or whatever. something I would like to pass down as a tradition.
Yeah, definitely, man. That is nice. It's nice to sit down. I remember my family used to be like that, but then it got to a case of, right, your presents were over there and yours were over there.
We used to be to start with, but somewhere that
you know, the little.
Yes, look what I've got.
I think I got the point of being disinterested in Christmas as a teenager, and I think being the eldest of four didn't help with that. And then, of course, in the years of madness, I was absenting myself as much as possible, and I wasn't even present when I was there. And this will be my sixth Christmas in recovery, and it's taken that time to work out what it's really about, and finding a new sort of MO for it, a new approach for it. And actually, I've been pretty late by my recovery standard this year for buying presents, because I've done it in September and October in the preceding few years.
It's organised.
My wrapping is still completely amateur with bells. And of course, because I went and got loads of presents at the works, I got their wrapping paper, and their wrapping paper is shit. It tears even without you touching it. It's like, I'm trying to cut up to get thinking, oh, this is going to be tricky because it's two different size things. Instead of wrapping them separately, no, I've got to put them together. And just as I'm folding this together, the whole thing rips. I must have got through 3 lots of it, 120 metres of it, just wrapping a few presents.
See, I'm good at rapping, but that's because I remember when I was knee high, and I used to sit and watch my mum wrap the presents. And I think that's how I see my Christmas, is because when my mum was wrapping the presents, so she was always wrapping the presents, she was always trying to make Christmas work. And then you had my dad, who, from the times I can remember, kind of spoiled Christmas. And so now, even when I was in my drinking days, I was always looking to see if anybody else in the family is causing trouble. So I was always on guard. I was like, who's going to start, or who's going to do this and that and the other. And you know, it hasn't changed that much, in the sense of I've now got my brother who's out there, so it's like my mum's still not happy about Christmas. It's still not that perfect little Christmas, so it's annoying in that sense. There's always been some kind of mayhem going on, and it's a shame that Luke's still not very well. So, but those good ones will come.
Being in recovery per se can make it quite difficult when we approach things like Christmas, because certainly for me, I just didn't know how. So I just went and just thought, oh, let's see what this is like now. Because surely it's not going to be like what it was. So let's try this. And then gradually I've found this sort of way around it of, okay, this is a way to do it. And it is about gauging time, and it's about looking at what I need over the time as well as what everyone else might need, and doing the fair thing around family.
I'm looking at it like that we're not here forever, and you know, I'm blessed that I got another year on this planet, and I get another breath today, and not everybody gets that opportunity. You know, a lot of people have lost people, and Christmas isn't a great time for them. So what my intentions are for this year ahead is to spend more time with my mum. There's been a shift in my energy the last week. I did a step 8 with my sponsor around my mum, and I'll be making amends to her over the Christmas period when she comes back to England. I've also made an amends letter to my nan that I've asked my mum to be a part of. So when she gets back, we're going to go to the grave, and I'll be doing an amends to my nan and to my granddad with my mum present, and then to my mum. And I'm really trying not to have expectations around it, but I feel like there's a shift of willingness and forgiveness that's come, and it's been beautiful actually. Nice. I feel lighter for it. Like I've let go of a lot of like energy that just not serving me anymore.
That's mad. That is.
Yeah.
I've done a few little bits like that this week as well. It's really strange, and I don't know where it's come from.
Yeah. There's a new moon, and there's been a shift.
You know what it is?
I think so. Yeah. For me, I just feel like a completely like different person.
Well,
this
I had
week.
a terrible week last week, and I knew everything was a problem, and my life was going nowhere, and everything's shit, and it's what's happening next. And this week it's really weird, because it's like, so I started helping people. I took on a sponsee. I didn't just take him on for that reason, but you know, he called me an ass, and he was desperate, and like we all are, and I've just been preoccupied doing that, and it's right. When you're looking at that, you know, you're not looking at yourself. When you're looking at yourself, you're looking at yourself too much.
Digging a little deeper.
Yeah, and it's nice. I'm helping this other person who's doing well, and then on the back of that, I'm then being more forgiving towards other people, and it's not them doing wrong. It's just my opinion about their behaviours, and everything's just falling into place this week. But yeah,
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's recovering.
and it's nice and cold. I love it.
It's very, very cold,
Me
isn't
too.
it?
I tell you, apart from having to wear lots of clothes, I'd be happy if I was wearing my shorts and t-shirt.
Yeah, I'm intrigued by this, Ronnie. What is
Why?
this? Shorts and t-shirt in December.
No.
I love it. I went to Argos yesterday. The man, this random man went, are you cold? And I went, no, I'm not.
Are you practicing the Wim Hof method, doll?
No.
Ronnie just wears shorts right up until like
To
I
the
don't know.
death. It's until strangers start talking to me in the shops. I've had it twice this winter, so that's when enough now. Both times it was in Argos. The one man behind the till, and he was actually praising me. He was going, you know what, me and him, man, we're the same. He was in shorts and t-shirts. And then he started asking me about football, and I was like, no.
We're not the same. I don't like football.
And then the man yesterday, I said I'm warm-blooded. No, I'm cold-blooded. I don't know which one's which. I don't know which one's which. She's looking like I'm a nutcase. I said, I think I started to say, I'm cold-blooded, I'm alright. No, warm. I said, whatever it is, I'm fine. Getting in my car, and it's warm in my car.
I just don't get it. I'm walking about in shorts in sub-zero temperatures.
I feel comfortable in shorts, and if I'm not feeling cold, if I'm feeling cold, of course, wrap up, but honestly, I'm not feeling cold, and I feel so hot. Where's that jacket? That thing down there with the big fluff on the top of it. I feel hot and suffocated in it. I'm fine now.
Maybe you're really Norwegian or something. From Switzerland or Iceland or something. Icelandic.
No. My granddad was from Chittagong.
He's a Viking.
Yeah, that's it. You've got
Chittagong?
Viking blood.
Chittagong.
Ah.
Yeah, my granddad was born in
Where's that?
India. It's in India. It's got to be.
Yeah, can you guys write in and let us know where what's it called?
I'm only saying that
Yeah.
because my granddad's
Chisholm.
Bangladesh. So my
Can't you see it?
was
I can
sorry.
see it in you now.
Oh, Bangladesh.
Bangladesh, yeah.
Oh, you're part of Sir Kayam's crew then. Bangladesh is like, yeah. That's right.
Quarter Bangladesh, quarter Irish.
No,
quarter
it's- no,
Scottish,
it's- it
quarter
is
everything.
What a nice mix, that.
It is Bangladesh.
Bangladesh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I was thinking of cricket pitches.
A mongrel. The best of everything.
Exotic, babe.
I used to have
Look
all
into your history, you might find out you are.
the Scottish.
I'm probably just
The
Anglo
Scottish,
boring Saxon.
the Scottish with the anger, the
I'd be
Irish
lucky if I
for
was
the
Welsh.
drink, the Bangladeshi, I don't know.
Right, anyway.
And
As it's
I'm
Christmas,
not looking
Neil knows
forward
what
to
this
it.
means.
I don't know because
Right.
we ain't done this for so long.
No.
Like we used to do this virtually every week.
Oh,
I
Now,
don't
you
know
have
what's
to pick
coming.
one out of here.
I don't know what's
Right.
coming. I don't know.
And then one out of here.
What's this asking?
I don't ever make the story up, do I?
And then you have to put the two together in some way.
Oh my gosh, how do I do this?
Have we got a guess? Is that
Put
the
the
game?
two together. You can make us guess if you want.
Well, I can make you guess.
Yeah,
What
but if you don't mention the thing, you can make us guess.
I don't need to make a story then. I just got need to
I
make you
want to
guys
make a story. I want him to suffer.
Make a story.
Make a story. But leave a bit that we have to guess.
Does it have to be real or can it be made
Oh
up?
no, not real.
Right,
It
made up.
can be made up.
We're making the rules.
I don't want this to mention every
Start would be a good start.
So like, you know, I was walking with Ronnie in the ball ring and he was in his shorts and his t-shirt and there was snow showers coming down. Everyone's coming up to him and saying to him, "Aren't you cold?" kind of thing. And like, I'm looking at him and I'm feeling cold just because of the way he's dressed, you know. But it's Ronnie, innit? And I'm trying to like kind of say like, I've just got to let people be today, haven't I? You know, he's all right with it, so just don't say nothing.
Acceptance.
No.
Allowing the people to be who they are.
Mhm.
Let them be.
Yeah, well, that's just basic. That would have been too easy. Like, you know, let me finish the story.
Alright.
You haven't finished yet.
Let me finish the story. I think I've lost the story. Oh gosh, was that the right start? Was that the right start?
That's
Richard?
fine. You just haven't finished your story.
I haven't finished the story yet. So like,
Because you've
yeah.
forgotten it.
So like, yeah, we're walking around and then like, and people coming up to him and I'm saying, Ronnie, like, I do want to say something to you, Ronnie. I do want to say something about the way you're dressed because it's bringing a lot of attention to me, kind of thing. Like, yeah. But like, it's not about me, is it?
Know what's going on for you?
And in the midst of that, like, I've got to find some.
Serenity, peace, harmony,
Clarity.
clarity.
Don't just randomly guess. It's not fair.
Good God.
I don't know how to explain this one. I'm going to mix it round to the next one. So I'm dying. I've woke up and there's a few things there's a few little aches and and maybe my head's hurting me a little bit.
Relapse?
No, I'm dying. I've just woke up and I'm not.
You're dying?
I'm dying. I'm literally.
Oh,
I feel like I'm dying.
Man flu.
Ah, there you go.
Hey!
Hang on a minute.
Oh, so it's not to do with recovery. It could be.
No,
just
one
anything.
of them's to do with recovery, and one of them
Oh.
isn't. Random guessing.
Random
Go on, who's
guessing.
next? No.
Yeah, go on, Ronnie. And
You've got to try and connect
one of
the
these,
two. One of those.
And then one of these.
You've got to connect the
Yeah.
two. Okay.
One of them
I've
is
not played this game
recovery-based.
before.
I'm so glad I should have made a story, but
This isn't the way we played it last year.
I don't like this one because I don't.
no, Ronnie, no.
I didn't suffer from it.
No.
I didn't suffer.
Back in. You big cheat. I bet you're the
I
kind of
don't
person
like that one.
that cheats on Christmas games. I'm
I
on board
said
games.
What, because he
today.
has to win?
He's a cheat.
I
Yeah?
do not have any denial. I knew what I was, so I don't have denial. I don't have the denial part of it. Right, so basically, cut a long story short, so
That's what you
it's
get for
2
cheating.
words, right?
You just got to tie the two together, and we've got to guess what they are.
Okay, but I can't actually use the words, can I?
Well, no, because that would be
No,
too
that would be
difficult.
cheating.
Yeah, but how would you know which 2 words it was? Yeah, so what happened was, I was out with Neil the other day, and he was harping on about my shorts, my attire, which was doing my
We're at
sweetie.
the end of this.
And I was thinking to myself, well, if it wasn't for a bit of
This is the word.
us
That's the
getting
word.
together every now and again.
Unity.
Hooking up.
Unity.
Yes, that's one word. I see. God made it so easy. And you know what? I will wear my shorts come rain, summer, winter or snow because
Seasons.
that
Self-will.
protects my
No.
Integrity.
integrity.
How did
Integrity.
you?
You know the answer.
Yeah, because he knows that.
I thought only Ronnie
Ah.
would associate wearing shorts all year round with integrity.
Integrity.
But you know what?
And,
Hold up a
and
minute.
hooking
No,
up.
no,
And
no.
hooking up.
But Ronnie,
Nobody else would call
No.
that keeping their integrity. But
No,
Ronnie
but-
would.
Ronnie,
Are they?
my word was integrity as well.
Was it?
Did you?
And I was saying about the shorts, but I didn't know how to kind of. Come on, brother.
My integrity. I'm glad
Right.
that finished so quick. I didn't
Right.
realise how much
Come on.
on the spot I would have felt by doing that.
I thought it was hooking up as unity. I was like, what?
What?
Don't
You
know.
said.
Right, you can
Did
see where
relapse?
my head's
I'm
gonna.
sorry.
I was like,
Did you relapse?
Yeah, you can see where my head's gonna go with this game. Like where my head's at today. Let's just see, shall we?
Yes.
Oh no
Have you
way!
got-
One from there
and
and
one
one
from
from
there.
the bottom.
Oh, here we go.
No,
Yes, there you
because
go.
it's the same. It's the
What's good for the
same.
goose is good for the
Okay.
gander.
Yes, I'm so excited. So excited.
Spirituality.
Whoa! Okay, you ready? Okay, I'm hooking them up.
Codependency.
Hey. You know, because everybody needs a.
Sponsor.
It actually wasn't the one, but the other. So everybody needs, but sometimes in our lives we have them, and oh god, they're a nightmare. They leave things like the gate open,
Oh. Housemate. Flatmate.
and sometimes it can be really annoying. You know, when people
Accessories.
do that.
People.
So everybody needs them, and they can be good, they can be bad.
Neighbours.
And you know, we can have them and they can leave the gates open, and they sometimes, you know,
Friends.
they live very close proximity to us.
Neighbours.
Pets.
Yes.
I said it twice.
I know.
We've said neighbours.
Did
I
you?
said neighbours 14
I
times.
didn't hear it.
14 times. I said that
But,
bloody
but
word.
it's not
I was
just.
going to start singing the fucking theme tune.
But it's not neighbours.
It's not-
It was difficult neighbours. So
Oh.
I was saying good, bad.
So, no, you shouldn't have said okay then.
Yeah,
because
I
I
should've
know
kept
you
it
said
going.
neighbours.
You got another go.
And
I
then you've
didn't
got the
get
other one, which
difficult.
was sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't very good at that, let's just face it.
No, I'm not
Put
going to
yourself
cheat.
down.
You're just going to take what's on offer, yeah?
I'm
was
just
the
going to
first
take
time I
what's
checked.
there.
Go
and
on.
I'm not going to cheat.
Even if it's the same word as the other ones.
Excuses. Justification.
I was like, how did you not get that with the gate thing? I was going with the gate.
Always say neighbours, neighbours, neighbours,
I
neighbours, neighbours.
hear what I want to hear. That's my disease.
She's just going,
Ah.
the gate. They leave the gate open.
Oh, it's so funny.
Right. For reasons best known to myself, I was walking through the centre of Norwich
Ooh.
Why anyone would choose to do that?
No, Norwich ain't a nice place. Yeah.
Unless I'm looking for the history of Alan Partridge, why would I be there? However, I was there because I got on the wrong train. And instead of going north, I went south from the
East.
wrong platform in the wrong direction.
Insanity.
There's a story here. As such, I'd had to stop at Costa Coffee. Now, I don't normally trust Costa Coffee, so I didn't buy any food from there. And of course, I had been to M&S because I thought this would be a much better bet. And as I was in Norwich anyway, I had to wander around to see what it supposedly had to offer.
Humidity.
And I chanced upon a group of people, a disparate group of people, who were standing outside looking suspicious outside a church hall.
Mistrust.
And this suspicious group of people hanging outside the church hall.
Judging
There
people.
was a big symbol of a big
Meeting.
F and someone being sick. Yeah, meeting.
Meeting.
Big F and someone being sick. On seeing this, I was violently sick over one of them, and they said, "It's all right. You're obviously one of us." And so I went into this gathering, and they all started describing their experiences of eating the wrong things and how this had affected them physically,
So you
and
know.
that they deliberately chose to make this happen to themselves.
It's not a charade.
Overeating.
That's anonymous.
Overeating.
No.
It's a.
Repeat-
I felt the consequences of my sandwich burning in my gut, and I knew I wouldn't be well again for some time.
Obese anonymous.
You're not thinking of the right angles.
No.
Meetings is right, yeah.
And it's
I was looking forward to eating a similarly awful sandwich in the hope that my illness might continue for at least a few months.
Repeating old behaviours. No.
It's more obvious than that.
It's more obvious. That means it's so simple that you won't get it.
Insanity.
If I'd had any sense, I'd have stopped buying sandwiches from places
Repeating.
like that, because they were obviously making me ill. And this group was full of people who clearly enjoyed being ill
Doing the same thing, expecting
and
to.
buying the wrong food. Those are recovery words.
I've lost.
Food
It's-
poisoning. Food poisoning! That's how,
Food
yeah!
poisoning.
Food
It's so
poisoning!
simple.
It's not recovery based.
not.
It's
Food
not all
poisoning.
recovery.
Go on, Neil. Get your hand in there.
Go again.
It's
Neil,
like charade.
you know what you're doing
Charade.
now, Neil.
I
like
think
it.
so.
like this.
But me, I can't believe that me and Ronnie was
okay.
going at the same level as the shorts.
At least I asked.
All of a sudden, like, you know, the world came to an end. Well, no, the world
world
seemed
came to an end.
the world seemed like it was coming to an end, right? Yeah. And everybody started to go out and buy toilet roll. Do you remember the toilet roll?
Panicking,
Tesla? Right,
panicking.
yeah. And yeah, it's
Oh,
like,
the panic button.
COVID.
yeah. Do you remember the toilet?
Yeah.
Of all things, toilet roll. Yeah, I can't
Cheap
explain.
to buy, yeah.
Madness.
So like yeah, we was all going out and buying toilet roll, and like, you know, Boris was coming on the screens every day. And some people were following like the directions from the government, and some people weren't. Some people like Boris was having like parties, like saying that what were they? They were supposed to be cabinet meetings.
Double standards.
Rule breaking.
Right, yeah. And then like we was told to kind of do all kind of manner of things, you know, to keep ourselves safe.
Roles in society.
Whilst the world was maybe coming to an end, we had to kind of do all these rituals every day.
Dictating.
No, we had to do many things during to this period. Like, you know, because
Program.
if we didn't do these things, we was going to spread. We was going to spread disease, and people were going to die more. And,
Fear.
like, we had to do things. We had
Rules.
to do
Fear
things.
mongering.
No, there was
We had to
loads
do
of.
things.
Power greater than oneself.
We had to do things.
Action. Taking action.
We had to take action by doing something. Because
Action.
if we didn't do that, things was going to spread even
Pray.
more.
Isolate.
We had to kind of, but yeah, we had to do more than isolate, innit? Then we had to kind of like
Spraying.
cleanse ourselves, innit? And then,
Oh,
like,
scrub.
and then like what and then putting things on us and all these horrible
Overreacting.
gels, these horrible gels we had
Health
to
and
use.
safety.
Like, yeah.
Self-protection.
But some people didn't want to do it, so they were in.
Rebellious.
Right. Some people did do it, and they were. Some people didn't do it, and they were in. And some people did do it, and they had to use gels to do it. But some people didn't do it as much.
Insane.
Denial.
Do you know, like
Denial.
denial?
Oh.
But yeah, but then like
It's
the
only
thing-
because you said in. Otherwise, I couldn't see where you were going with that.
I was like,
My
what?
rule-
I'm making it so like and like the gels we had to kind
You
of
really
throw on
elaborated
ourselves.
on it.
Yeah, we had to throw gels away. Like we was told to do this, or things was gonna spread. Like, they would spread more in this period of time.
Oh,
than
you
it
mean
was.
that people were pretending that it wasn't going to spread, which is why they
No,
didn't.
like if we had to do this, or it would spread. Like if we had to contain it, and if we done this, then we'll contain it more by putting
Rules.
this gel upon ourselves?
Well, then
Something to do with
What
rules.
was the gel we used to have to put on ourselves?
The anti-bac gel.
Ritual, routine.
Yeah, before that, before you put the gel on, you used to have to
Wash your
Wash your
hands.
hands.
oh, it's hand washing.
Hand washing. Oh, see, they're always obvious, aren't they?
Hand washing. I think I got the two. I think I got the
was
two in
not
well there.
obvious,
Denial
Richard.
and
Did
hand
get
washing.
the two, yeah.
Got there eventually.
Yeah, we're struggling with the obvious ones, aren't we?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to do one word at a time. I can't combine the two.
Of course you can.
Oh, okay, I will.
Don't you remember you used to tell the story?
Look at what Neil's just done. Of course you can.
So it's like, you know when they say, it's so boring.
Monotonous.
It's very monotonous, yeah. It is very monotonous. And it's like, you know what? Somebody asked me to watch a football match with them the other day, and I said, you know what?
I'd rather make paint dry.
That's exactly what I said, but hang on a minute. I'm thinking of the wrong thing. So I've got enough of these. Do you know what? I went to. I don't know how to make
Nexus.
it so it's not hard, too easy. Do you know?
It doesn't actually matter.
But if I didn't go to these, I'd be fucked.
Meetings.
There you go. And do you know something? I really don't like the decor in this room, and I think it could do with a new. I'm not interested in paint. I think.
Makeover.
Yeah. So if I'm going to give it a makeover, what do I need to do?
Paint.
Paintbrush.
Painting.
Tools.
Money.
I want some with like silver
Wallpaper.
wallpaper.
You can't combine meetings and wallpaper. That's quite
Of
hard.
course you can.
How?
Because
You went to a meeting and the wallpaper was.
You just have to spin it out.
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
it's
I went
not-
to a meeting and it was
And the
like,
wallpaper wasn't
Yeah,
very
the
nice.
wallpaper.
I'll tell you what.
I
I'll
get
tell
you.
you what. Then you do this time. Then like, tell us a story.
What's the story, Jack and Nori?
Do you remember we used to get 3 different words and you have to make a story?
Yeah,
Do you remember that?
yeah. And it had to be supposed to do. I mean,
And it was like, I don't know, there was a car crash and then like your granny or something like that. And something else.
oh, don't forget we're still on live.
Well, we're going to edit it, I think. I hope.
We can edit it.
So I was looking outside, but I couldn't see past the.
Couldn't see the wood through the trees.
I was looking outside and okay, so I was fixing something in the living room and I needed new glass to put into the oh god, this one's really hard.
Window
Okay.
frame, picture frame.
Window frame, yeah. When I looked outside, there was this guy
He's looking. Go on.
standing there, staring at me,
Yeah,
and
did he
and
have
I
stalk
felt
margarine?
with his eyes, and
Could see
there
through
was an energy
Piercing.
between us.
lightning strike.
Connection.
Yes,
Ugh.
window frame and connection.
Very good.
It's not bad.
I like it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put
well,
together.
see, it's not as difficult as the 3 things, though, Neil, is it?
It's not, I remember. I
Three
was
things.
listening to one with the 3 things the other day. I don't know why.
Yeah?
I came across it. It's crazy.
Yeah, that was. We did that at mine.
Yes, and I used to dread it. I used to think, oh no.
Oh,
here it
dear
comes
me.
on. Here it comes.
Oh dear me.
Ah.
They're in separate bags, but
On my next messed up journey, ending up in the wrong destination, having ended up in Norwich the week before, I ended up in Paisley. Quite how I ended up in a suburb of Glasgow is a mystery to me, but for some reason I got on the wrong train again and then fell asleep on the wrong train and ended up in Scotland.
killed.
I decided to go and try and blag my way into a local gym because I felt like going swimming, even though it was -4 outside and I didn't have anything to go swimming with. I thought this was a really good idea.
Unorganised and manageable.
I explained to the person at the till that I was prepared to go in provided they give me a special daily price and could I go in naked.
Expectation.
They didn't seem to accept that I was going to do this anyway because I thought this was reasonable even though nobody
Nudist.
else did.
Nudist.
I thought this was reasonable even though nobody else did.
More, that's it. That's it. There.
Insanity.
They gave me a pair of swimming briefs which I thought were laughable but
Unreasonable.
but I wore them anyway, and they also gave me a means to secure my locker. I then went into the pool. Of course, things were not as I expected. There were other people in there for a start, which just wasn't good enough. I was labouring under the idea.
False
Self-will-
pretenses, false pretenses.
Self-willing.
No, not false pretense.
I was thinking
Willingness.
about this idea that really the whole place should just be open for me on my
Selfishness.
own, even though I'd come
Expectation.
all the way. This is what I expected and what I thought I was seeing, but of course it wasn't. What
Perception.
I was seeing.
Self-will.
Demands on others.
Self-will run right.
It's not
Ego.
recovery based.
It's not.
Is it?
Confused.
You're the
That's how it
nearest,
went.
Neil.
Yeah.
And I was expecting the one thing, but I got the other because there were some awful children in there. And I didn't want to accept that these children were in there. So I decided to have them shot, even though I had no way of having them shot. My expectation, I went out of the swimming pool, I didn't have a towel, so I went walking out in this freezing weather and decided, oh, I'm all right, it doesn't matter what this weather's like, because I'm superhuman. I went to the police and I explained to them that I was the king of Northumberland. And that
Delusional.
so-
Delusional. Deluded.
They then took me back to my locker and they couldn't get into it because I'd forgotten to set it up properly.
So this is the random, like
This is the
anything.
random one.
So they couldn't get into my locker.
And you leave it there.
Forgetful. No.
No, this is the thing.
I couldn't get into my locker.
Couldn't get into a locksmith. No.
It's simpler than that.
Key.
Listening.
Yeah, key's getting there.
Key.
12 steps.
Open the door.
That's getting
The
there.
lock.
That's
Lock and
getting
key.
there.
Lock
Kingdom.
and key. Lock and key.
We're very nearly there, but still not.
Keys to the kingdom.
I'm not even going to try.
A padlock.
Oh, we were so
Oh.
close in the gym, of course.
And
God.
it's
You
incredible.
two are in gyms all the time with your padlocks. Oh, well, I don't know
It's
how to do it.
incredible though, isn't it? The immediate focus in this is always to think of the recovery words.
Yeah.
And then the recovery words, because there's about a finite number of them, they all come flying out regardless of what the person is saying. And it takes about 5 minutes to get to the recovery word because you've not listened to what they're saying at all.
Yeah.
You just keep throwing random words at it. And when you've thrown random words at it, eventually you get the right one. And then you're completely incapable of honing down on a very obvious other word.
Are
Because
you
you're
really
still
listening?
in recovery mode.
Are you really listening?
Oh, that's the other question, Neil. How much listening is going on there? Right,
You too, what? Like slow?
and
When there's chocolate going, you gotta swipe it like we've got.
where are we now? Let's see. Oh, I know. Right, we'll have a dilemma for the end.
Yeah.
You've been sent a utilities bill for £4,000 covering a period during your active addiction. You know it's correct, but you can't afford to pay it. Do you A, contact them, acknowledge your liability, but tell them you can only afford £20 a month? B, ignore it. C, change address, change your bank account details and start saving money in the biscuit tin which you keep under your bed. D, ask for financial advice. E, spend every penny you've got so they can't take anything.
Well, this would depend on what sort of mood I was in, whether I was still in active addiction
Yeah.
or an alcoholic or whether I was sobered up.
Well, yeah, but this is what I mean, Ronnie. You can take it from both. What
Wow.
would you have done if you were still in active addiction?
No, I don't pay. Do you know, it's so
But-
funny, I just rather not pay.
But
Simple
as it
that.
says in the front, you've got this bill covering a period during your active addiction, which implies that you're no longer there.
Right, so if I'm still living at the property, then I'm going to have
What?
to. I don't know, man. I'll bring up those. There's a company which will pay for your water bill if you're in crisis. And obviously, I'm paying electric on my new place, so what I'll do is set up a payment plan so out of that electric you can take a little bit extra, like a little bit.
Yeah.
The thing is, that's still acknowledging that you owe the money.
And I wouldn't mind doing that because some things I got on the way with. Some things just happen to fall into place in my recovery where my 6 years was up. Basically, I didn't pay a payment, I didn't acknowledge the debt, so after 6 years, it's statutory barred. But with stuff like your electric, you pay 2 months ago. You know, you can't try and run away from that for 6 years. I don't know how I did the other stuff, but I did. Well, I
Well, it's
didn't.
attitudinal, isn't it? It's like, am I going to acknowledge this and take responsibility for it, or am I just going to say, oh, it'll go away and stick my head under a
I
stone?
really didn't care though, because it got to the point where before the gas and electric was the least of my worries. That I just didn't let them in the house to put one of those meters. You know, they put a meter.
Oh, right, yeah.
You know, I wasn't paying credit cards, I wasn't paying mortgage, I wasn't paying anything whatsoever. And there was piles and piles and piles, and there was an organised pile. That's all for the gas. That's all for the electric. That's all for this credit card. That's all for that credit card. and it was the same old stuff on the phone. I remember just really going up the wall at them, to be fair. I'm like, what the F are you calling me for? I'm fucking broke, I've got no job, you ain't getting shite out of me. And that's what my kind of behaviour was. But if I'm starting afresh and trying to sort something out, definitely, man.
Talk about taking responsibility, like especially coming in around the framework of like the recovery style that we're doing. When they talk about taking responsibility, I think they talk about it in any form of like recovery setting. I used to have a guy who used to take us through a little group, and he used to say something like, "Does it sit well with you, Neil? Does it sit well with you?" And what I've come to understand over my time of kind of seeing people like in different stages and looking at myself in different stages of recovery, like, and being honest with myself and taking responsibility for the fact that I have run up £4,000 worth of debt. I've honestly got to say, like, early doors, I'll be like, there's a way out of this somehow. I'm going to use my old skill set to wrangle my way somewhere in and around this.
That's your default, isn't it?
Yeah, don't you know? I think I am, and like I've got this covered. I'm not even thinking about it. Like, we've got to go and rave tonight, and then I'll sort it out next week or something. Whatever I'm doing today, I've got to do today. That is, I've got it covered. I don't know what I'm going to do yet, but I'm not paying it. Let's get that straight. Let's get that straight. They're not getting £4,000 off me, but I'm going to work it out that they're happy.
Yeah.
Today, going through all that I've gone through and getting to a place of understanding that I've got to take responsibility for what, and I can't expect for a utility company to bear that burden of £4,000. I'll be kind of looking at setting up some form of payment plan. But I think like it's important to kind of understand that, you know, it's what sits right with you, and you've got to be authentic in where you're at certain times, because even though people will be saying to you, this is not the way to go, if you're not ready to take that stuff on, it's more important that you still understand that. What do they say in one thing? That no matter what, wash your face, brush your teeth, but just don't pick up. That's the first things first. I mean, that stuff will come like that, you know, taking responsibilities around some stuff that you come to understand that it's to get integrity, which is the word that popped up.
Yeah.
Integrity,
you have to take
integrity
responsibility.
isn't about wearing shorts, it's about...
It's
about but you can do that and wear your shorts at the same time.
Yeah.
Listen, I can't afford the electric bill, so I'm wearing my shorts. Right, so I had a dilemma that I had these debts, and I knew that if I waited another 12 months, they'd be written off. But I was in recovery, and I was being advised that I have to do the right thing, buy the book, buy the spiritual principles and all this and the other, and pay them off. Yeah, I knew it was about 9 months actually. If I just waited 9 more months, then those debts will be written off. What do I do? Do I confess, take responsibility and say, yeah, that because it was 40 grand's worth? Do I say, yeah, all right, how are we going to sort this out, and then we'll pay 40 grand over this how many years? You know, it's a nightmare. So I chose how very dare you? I chose the latter, and I decided that I will wait another 9 months, and then the debt will be written off, and it will be statutory barred, and that's what I did.
And if you're doing it like around what we were saying,
That's my honest.
that's where you was.
Did I feel bad for it? No, absolutely not. Did I think there was some moral that I ought to really be paying it off? Yeah, of course I did. But did I do it? No, I didn't. And I think the way I got round it sounds like a bad way. The spiritual side of it is because I knew that after 6 years it's statutory barred, which is a legal thing. So I thought, well, it might be not the best thing to be doing now, but suddenly when you hit that 6 year mark, you're quite right in what you've done. So
Yeah, I think I did that with a credit card. I can't remember because I was in the madness. Backed up a £5,000 credit cards. I was shopping, thinking I was Victoria Beckham and I could just do what I wanted. And I was doing things at the time where I was earning a lot of money, and I had money, but I was blowing it all on alcohol and drugs. And I just racked up this bill. I don't even know what I did with it in the end, but I know I was getting red letters and I was stuffing them in the drawer. And you know, I was doing my tax yesterday, and I was honest. And I was willing to pay the taxman when I was doing my self-assessment for the money that I earned last year. But it turns out that because I was out of the country for 6 months, I didn't need to pay any of that tax. And I was like, freaking yes. But the fact that I was willing to pay it and be honest about it and have that clear conscience and go into the new year without having to fear that, okay, if that comes back on me, I'm in trouble, you know, and I was honest about it. So I'm proud of myself for that.
Yeah, definitely, because you know what, if you do decide to do the right thing and say own up to the 40 grand worth of debt before the 9 months is up, I truly believe that, you know, it wouldn't have been that much of a dilemma for me anyway, because I believe you do the right thing and good things happen. So, you know, either way, I'd probably paid for that 40 grand in bloody silly interest bills and stuff like that they've had off me and what have you. So in all, it's probably broken even.
It's all about whether I'm willing to do something about it or whether I'm going to try and sneak out of it. And it's all attitudinal, and you might not actually be able to pay it. You might not end up paying it all. It's about whether you're prepared to or not. Because if your default is, how the fuck can I get out of this? Then you're going to carry on doing that with everything. Whereas if your default is, let's actually try and address this, then at least you're having some kind of honesty around it.
I have a conscience today.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, God, it's horrible.
And right at the moment
Yay! Double trouble!
right at the moment where it's game over for Christmas.
Yeah!
Merry Christmas!
You're good. And just as Ben and Matt arrive, if you've heard anything today that has resonated with you or with anyone you know, your neighbours, your caretakers,
Oh, is this finished?
anyone else,
No swearing.
anyone you have ever met,
The guy wearing the shorts down the street.
which will probably be Ronnie because there won't be that many of them. Whatever you've heard, anything you feel about this that you need to address for yourself or for anyone else, please seek help. Try Google, look for rehab, look for recovery. There's plenty out there. Have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year. We'll be back before the New Year because we never stop.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
And with that, good night from Scrooge.
Have a good one.